So you guys want to know what one of the coolest things in the world is? I got this little microphone thing going on, so like I can do like this, wah, and you guys like wake up if you're falling asleep. That's cool. Hey, can we do something we didn't do at the very beginning? Can we give God praise for allowing us to use this room? This is awesome. I know that some of you, and some of you being Maya, we're really scared that it's going to be cold out here. Is it cold?
No.
I am burning up. It's nice and toasty. Okay. Another thing we were scared of is bugs. Do you see any bugs?
Yes.
That's because they're hidden under the rugs.
No, there's no bugs.
Oh, no. All right, I did bug bomb this place. They say with about, I don't know, it was every 20 or 30 feet you use one of those bug bomb cans. I had 4. But we do live right next to the woods, so
there will be more.
There will be, yeah. They will come, yeah. Exactly. Okay, what is the name of our series?
Dynasty.
Dynasty. Does it have anything to do with ducks?
Yes.
No.
Well, I was trying to pull out my hero.
Why do we call it Dynasty?
Because God is setting up His dynasty for Jesus.
Yes. God is setting up, as we read 1 Samuel, in 1 Samuel, God is setting up His dynasty. 1 Samuel is when we see the first of the kings of Israel ascend to the throne, and essentially God is setting up His dynasty for who's coming? Jesus, the Messiah. The cool thing is, Jesus is king because He's God, right? But God, being who He is, also set it up that Jesus is in the physical line of kings to also be king. Not that He needed that, but God did it that way because that was God's plan. But this is God's dynasty. By the way, do you like the notes? They're all in color now. Woo, that's nice and pretty, isn't it? I know, that's fabulous. Okay, what is the application question with this series? Who is your king? Why am I asking that? Okay, let me ask you this. How many answers you get? 2. What are the answers? Just shout them out.
Yourself or God?
Yourself or God. You can either bow to King or Queen self, or you can bow to King Jesus. And we're going to look from God's Word that He draws us to bow to Him as King and not ourselves, though the temptation is self. So who is the person that we looked at for the last 6 weeks? Samuel. We learned a lot of things about Samuel. In fact, we covered his life in 8 short chapters. He went from not yet born to an old man in 8 chapters of the Bible. We covered a lot of years in that time frame. And what was the last thing that happened?
Don't know. Israel asked for a king, and God said that He would give it to them.
Yeah, exactly. Israel asked for a king, and what does Samuel say about that? He said, "You really, really want a king." Samuel's, you sure? Yeah, exactly. You sure about that? That's a good way to summarize it. Samuel was like, yeah, you sure about that? You sure you want a king? You don't really want a king. Here's what a king's going to do. And the people were like, no, we want a king. And God was like, give them a king. They're not rejecting you. They're rejecting... You can fill in the blank there. They're rejecting me, meaning God. Absolutely. So that's where we are. In our new series tonight, we introduce a different person. Who's that? Just look up on the graphic. Oh, wait. There you go. Boom. Saul. Hey, look, I have a laser pointer. Cool. Okay, who's your king? All right, we talked about what happened last time. So, if you have a Bible, turn to 1 Samuel chapter 9. It's also in your notes. You can follow along. 1 Samuel chapter 9, verse 1. There was a man of Benjamin whose name was Kish. He liked to fish. He had a dish. He made a wish. No, whose name was Kish. He was the son of Abiel, son of Zeror, son of Bechorath, son of Aphiah, a Benjaminite. By the way, there's some great names in there. If you're thinking in the future, for when you have kids, you have Abiel, you have Zeror, Bechorath, and Aphiah. Great names right there. Anyway, he was a man of wealth. Verse 2. And he had a son whose name was...
Saul.
Let's try that again. He had a son whose name was...
Saul.
Very good. A handsome young man. There was not a man among the people of Israel more handsome than he. Give me some celebrities. What are some dude celebrities right now that are famous for their good looks? Benedict Cumberbatch?
Matt Smith.
I don't know who Matt Smith is. Who? Wayne Johnson. All right. So Saul would fit in this category. And finish verse 2. The end of verse 2 says, from his shoulders upward he was taller than any of the people. So look, get this straight. He was good looking, he was tall, and he came from a wealthy family. This guy had it all, quote unquote. Quote unquote. Verse 3. Now the donkeys of Kish, Saul's father, were lost. So Kish said to Saul his son, take one of the young men with you and arise, go and look for the donkeys. And he passed through the hill country of Ephraim and passed through the land of Shalishah, but they did not find them. And they passed through the land of Shaalim, but they were not there. And they passed through the land of Benjamin, but did not find them. You notice a pattern here? Lots of looking, no finding. Verse 5. When they came to the land of Zuph, Saul said to his servant who was with them, come, let us go back, lest my father cease to care about the donkeys and become anxious about us. They've obviously been looking for a while. We'll find out they've been looking for days. And he's like, we need to go back because my father's going to get worried. Verse 6. But he said, the servant, behold, there's a man of God in this city. He is a man who is held in honor. All that he says comes true. Who do you think he's talking about? Samuel. Very good. All right. All that he says comes true. I lost my place. There we go. So now let us go there. Perhaps he can tell us the way we should go. Then Saul said to his servant, but if we go, what can we bring the man? For the bread in our sacks is gone, and there's no present to bring the man of God. What do we have? Okay, back in the day, so they didn't always pay with money. They sometimes paid with food or with livestock or things like that. So it's like, if we go ask for his services, how are we going to pay the guy? It's kind of like, I want to go out to eat, but I have no money. How am I going to do that? Not possible. Verse 8, the servant said, here I have with me 1/4 shekel of silver. Got cash. We're good to go. And I will give it to the man of God to tell us our way. Skip down to verse 11. As they went into the hill country, they met young women coming out to draw water, and they said to them, is the seer here? Now say that with me. Is the seer here? That's just one of those. There's a couple of fun sayings in here. Is the seer here is one of them. That's kind of fun. They answered, he is. Behold, he is just ahead of you. Hurry. He has come just now to the city because the people have a sacrifice today. Blah, blah, blah. Go to verse 14. Every word of God is awesome, don't get me wrong, but we're just skipping ahead of the story. Verse 14. So they went up to the city, and as they were entering the city, they saw Samuel coming out toward them on his way up to the high place. That's convenient. Now verse 15 is a flashback. You guys like flashbacks in movies? A little bit of backstory?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what we're doing right now. Flashback. Verse 15. Now the day before Saul came, the Lord had revealed to Samuel, tomorrow about this time I will send to you a man from the land of Benjamin. You shall anoint him to be prince over my people Israel. He shall save my people from the hand of the Philistines, for I have seen my people because their cry has come to me. It's kind of nice when you just get a direct word from God there. Like, at this time, this dude's coming. Verse 17. When Samuel saw Saul, there's another one. We had is the seer here, and now when Samuel saw Saul. Say that one. And Samuel, there's a couple of fun ones. When Samuel saw Saul, the Lord told him, here is the man of whom I spoke to you. He it is who will restrain my people. Then Saul approached Samuel at the gate and said, tell me where the house of the seer is. He's still looking for the seer. And verse 19, Samuel answered Saul, I am the seer. Convenient. Go up before me to the high place, for today you shall eat with me, and in the morning I will let you go, and will tell you all that is on your mind. As for the donkeys, did he ask about the donkeys? No, he hadn't asked about the donkeys. Go back to verse 20. As for the donkeys, they were lost 3 days ago. Do not set your mind on them, for they have been found. Now, how would you like, you wake up in the morning, okay, and you're looking for your toothbrush, and looking, like, where's my toothbrush? And you don't say a word, you're just looking, and you walk into the dining room, and your mom's like, hey, your bias for your toothbrush, it's out in the garage. And you're like, I didn't even ask you for it. How'd you know I was even looking for it? You know, that kind of thing. It's just kind of weird. It's true. Okay, the last part of verse 20 is our key verse. Take note. The last part of verse 20. The donkeys have been found. And for whom is all that is desirable in Israel? Is it not for you and your father's house? That's our key verse. Now I'm going to come back because that's a little confusing. I'm going to come back to what that means. But just hang on to that. That's our key verse for tonight. As for you, or back to verse 20. And for whom is all that is desirable in Israel? Is it not for you and all your father's house? Saul answered, am I not a Benjamite from the least of the tribes of Israel? And is my clan the humblest of the clans of the tribe of Benjamin? Why then have you spoken to me this way? That would be a weird way. If you think about it, somebody comes up to you, he tells you what you're looking for before you even ask, and then he says something weird about you. They'd be like, dude, what's going on here? You're talking crazy. But verse 22, then Samuel took Saul and his young men and brought them to the hall and gave them a place at the head of those who had been invited, who were about 30 persons. And Samuel said to the cook, bring the portion I gave you, of which I said, put it aside. So the cook took up the leg. Oh, there's another one. Cook took. The cook took up of the leg and what was on it and set them before Saul. And Samuel said, "See what is kept set before you. Eat it, because it was kept for you until the hour appointed, that you might eat with the guests." Okay. There's some more there, but I want to just kind of... This strikes me as really funny. What was Saul doing? What was Samuel doing? Or no, Saul. What was Saul doing in the beginning of this chapter? He was looking for his donkeys. He was going his way. He was minding his business. He was looking for his donkeys. And what happened? He didn't find him. And then what happened? Okay. He was told that they had been found. Yeah. Something crazy. Now think about this. Okay, Saul is just doing his thing. He's obeying his dad. He's doing his work. And this is crazy that happens to him. His servant's like, let's go talk to the seer. Let's go talk to the prophet. He's going to help us out, which was a good thing to do. When you wanted to talk to God back then, you went to God's prophet and he would talk to you about God. That was a good thing to do. And God's prophet dropped a bomb on him. He's like walking up to the city and he's like, I need to find the seer. And the seer's like, no, you need to come to have dinner with me. Okay, that's weird. And he goes and has dinner and he finds out that there's a place at the head of the table where he was supposed to sit. There was food already reserved for him. And he was told before that the donkeys had already been found. Would that throw off your day? Yeah. You're going about, you're doing your thing, and all of a sudden, no, you need to come over here, there's a little party for you. What? It's not even my birthday. What are you talking about? Okay. That's what's going to... Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. It's like food, absolutely. And beyond that, he gives them a place to sleep. Look at verse 25. And when they had come down from the high place to the city, a bed was spread for Saul on the roof. Say, on the roof.
Sweet.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Yeah, hopefully it wasn't winter. Maybe they could look at the stars. And they lay down to sleep. And at the break of dawn, Samuel called to Saul on the roof, "Up that I may send you away." So Saul arose, and both he and Samuel went out into the street. And then they left the city. Yes, his servant stays with him, as far as we can tell. Okay, tonight's devotional is called A Change in Direction. A Change in Direction. Does any of you use Siri?
No.
Does any of you know who Siri is?
Yes.
Does any of you know any kind of maps or guides?
Cortana.
Yeah, that. Okay, unfortunately. All right, so Siri. Sometimes she is great. Other times, we won't go there. Well, sometimes I'll go to Siri for directions to go from one place to another because I find Decatur a very confusing town. And so I'll ask her to plot me a route to wherever. And she often will give me like 1 or 2 or 3 different options so I can like go the scenic route or I can go the short route or whatever I want to do, right? So I pick my route. But I can pick whichever way I want to go and hopefully she'll get me there. I make that call. But in life, oftentimes we have that map that we want to travel down. But you will find that you are not in control. You will find as you travel down the road of life, you are absolutely not in control. The direction that you are going oftentimes gets thrown off, gets twisted, gets turned around, and goes in directions that you never planned. Parents, am I speaking the truth? Yes, absolutely right. And this is one of those moments for Saul. He's going in one direction in his life, and he has an encounter with Samuel, which is essentially an encounter with God that completely changes his direction. A change in direction. Our key verse, back to verse 20b, is this. For whom is all that is desirable in Israel, is it not you? Another version says this way. Maybe this will be a little more understandable. And who does all Israel desire but you? Who does all Israel desire, Saul, but you? All of Israel is looking for you. All of Israel is waiting for you. You are the man that we've been waiting for. Imagine being told that. Let's say you wake up tomorrow and you go to school. For those of you who are homeschooled, this does not apply. For you going to school, and you walk into your door. You guys have double doors on your front of your school? Okay, good. You walk in your double doors, and there standing right in your way is the principal. And you're like, yeah, exactly. You're like, what did he? And the principal's like, thank goodness you're here. You're the one that we've been waiting for. You're the one everyone in the school has been waiting for. Only you can do what we need.
I'm more scared of what I did.
Yeah, that would be freaky.
Especially because it's me.
That would be freaky. So you walk in, and this principal says, "We're looking for you." Saul walks into the city, and Samuel's like, "All of Israel's been looking for you. You're the man for the job." Saul's like, "What? What are you talking about?" Huh? Saul's life is seriously about to change. What would you do? How would you respond if God showed up in a huge, powerful way and wanted to change the direction your life was going? You'd be glad? Sometimes we're glad. Sometimes it's not the direction we're thinking. Our key question. Are you willing to change the direction of your life? That's the question I want to ask with this lesson. If God was to show up, and I'm willing to bet that at some point in your life He will, and He shows you a path He wants you to take that's different from what you were thinking, are you willing to change? Are you willing to change? Saul's plan was probably, we don't know because the text doesn't tell us, but I'm going to guess, Saul's plan was probably to follow in his father's footsteps. He was going to take over the family business. He came from a wealthy family. He was good looking. He was trained to be a donkey chaser. He was doing his thing. And God stepped into Saul's life. What will you do when God steps into your life? Let me give you an example. Okay, so 15 years ago, who was alive?
15?
Too many of you are not raising your hand. 15 years ago, who was alive? Okay.
Depending on when, if it was to this day, I was like, well,
15 years ago, I was in college, and I had a plan for my life. Do you guys know what my plan was?
No.
You want to take a guess?
You're going to make movies. You're going to make video games.
No, I wasn't. I wasn't that smart. Make video games. No, I wanted to start a band. My plan when I left high school, I was going to go to college. You guys ever heard of Jars of Clay?
yeah.
Okay, three or four guys, I can't remember how many. They found each other in college and they started a band and they rocked. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to find me a couple of guys, start a band. I wanted to do CDs. I wanted to tour. That was my plan. That was my plan. God. Nice. That is a band, true. God had a different plan. God had a different plan. And I remember the moment I was actually talking to my wife-to-be at the time. And we were just talking about our future and stuff. And I just can't explain that the Spirit, I believe, came over me and led me toward youth ministry. And I remember that moment very clearly that God stepped in and changed my plan. Now, was my plan bad? Was my plan sinful? Was it evil? Was it against God? No, not at all. But God had a different plan for my life, and He completely changed the direction that I was going. Are you glad? Yeah, because I wouldn't be here. I'd probably be in some coffee shop just trying to make a buck, playing stupid songs. Anyway.
Instead, you're stuck with us.
Yeah. Hey, it's a good trade. I like it. God will often change your plans. Now, that was a fun example. There are examples that aren't so fun. There are times when God changes the direction of our life and something bad happens and shows up. And it almost feels like it's not from God when it is. Sometimes pain, sometimes loss, sometimes heartache. And God uses those things in our life to change direction. Change in direction when God steps in, it's not always a fun thing, but it is a God thing. And God knows our plans. You guys, have you ever read Jeremiah 29:11? It's a very, very popular verse. It reads like this. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope. God's plan for you is to give you a future and a hope. God has a plan for you. And our key statement, if I am to make Jesus my King, that's our goal here, right? We want to make Jesus our King. We want to bow the knee to King Jesus, not to King self. If I'm to make Jesus my King, I must be willing to change the direction of my life when He calls it. When God shows up in your life in a powerful way and He wants to change the direction of your life, if you're going to make Jesus your King, you've got to submit to that. God has a plan for you. Here's the question. Are you willing to change your plans for God's plans?